Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jewelers reimagines family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Working one-on-one, Duke's designers honor the original story while creating something fresh and modern. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com, where old stories become new treasures.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Ken Pomeroy's coming up to talk Final Four at the top of the hour. PK, you put a question up on our Facebook page earlier this week, but there's been so much going on we haven't gotten to it here. Are you rooting for Big 12 member Arizona in the Final Four? And the answers are, well, predictably, it's all over the map. Eldon, ask me when hockey is done. Well, when hockey is done, this won't be a story anymore, Eldon, so that's not a good timeline. Martin, yes, they're the only bracket winner left in the ones I filled out. All of other Martin's choices down the tubes. Melody says, yes, Big 12 at this point, and I do like Arizona's team, but Eric says, no, Illinois. 2 years ago, I moved off away from this university. Keaton Wagler's a rising star the Jazz fans should keep an eye on if they don't get a top 3 pick. So, all over the map. Hockey, Arizona, Illinois. Michelle says, oh, blue. Brian's all about Michigan also. Here's the deal. When the leagues were together in what we thought would be forever, but it was at least, 10 or 20 years or whatever, could your league be elevated if somebody in League One? Sure. But when we're looking at something where it's going to get pulled apart in 4 years, are you going to get credit for it in the long run? Will it help you next year or in 2 years? Maybe there's something for it, or does that just make them the more likely candidate to get gobbled up in whatever college sports is about to look like when the powers that be reorganize in 2030? I don't feel like I have the long-term investment in a league that just barely came together and feels like it might get pulled apart again.
Well, how about the short term? Because the more you win, the more money it makes for the conference. And you, as a member of that conference, whoever you might be, receive some financial remuneration. So in terms of money, it puts more money in your pocket. And I don't think anybody is going to go to any conference on the strength of their basketball team. That's nice, but it is 95% football and fit and all this other stuff. Remember when it used to be, there's such an academic fit here, the AAU, the land grants. And I used to say, bleep that. That's a bunch of nonsense. That's what they want you to believe. At least now, through all these changes that we've seen, nobody talks about academics anymore. And they never did. It was just fake. It was phony, right? And they're not going to some school. The Bonsa didn't come to BYU for their fill-in-the-blank program academically. No. And nor should he, right? Because he wanted to have the best basketball situation to prepare him for the NBA. That's what this is about. And they would go and act like you got these academic people, and I swear the athletic people said it just to get them off their backs. And so, yeah, we really care about academics. Oh, it's a fine academic institution. Great. And 90% of the athletes aren't coming there for that. They didn't go to fill in the blank to play school. They went there to play football. So basketball is not going to drive it. But in the short term, it does give you money right now. And why wouldn't you want money right now?
If you had to just spotlight one decision that just screamed, wait a minute, you did that for the sports, not for the academics. And it can't even be debated, and you like to debate everything. You'll play devil's advocate and switch in a minute just for the sheer fun of it. Explain to me why they took Oregon over Stanford. Ha! This doesn't make any sense at all. It's not about the academics. If it lines up and it's a convenient thing to say, and like you said, it gets somebody off your back, you'll say it. But the Big Ten took Oregon, and they didn't take Stanford. Are you kidding me? Nothing against Oregon, but they're not making anybody's top 20 list of schools. And Stanford's 1 or 2 all the time. So show them the money.
Yeah, who cares about that? I don't care about that.
I
knew it never was about that in the beginning anyway.
Yeah, you get the payout for Arizona, and actually Arizona winning 4 games already, so that's already a lot of money, and then, keep putting the money in the coffers. So there is that. I mean, there's that. And then there's just the is it just fun? I mean, if you're just in it for the fun of it all, would it be more fun to have the defending champ? Now, I assume the defending champ is going to send multiple players to the NBA, and, going back-to-back, it's hard to keep a group together. It might be fun to have them coming through town next year as the defending champs. That was another thing that we used to look forward to, but it doesn't really feel like you look forward to that much anymore either, as these teams get pulled apart and put back together like taffy.
Well, yeah, we also don't know if they're actually going to come through town anyway, because we don't necessarily go with the home and home. Some do, but not all, so you don't know how it's going to be. I do agree with the one poster who talked about the kid from Illinois. I've been following him a little bit, read some stuff on him earlier in the season, and it's funny to say these kids are so young, and they're a late bloomer. But in terms of the hype going into the season, he didn't have it. And now watching him develop under Underwood has been something that I've been keeping my eye on, because I think they've got a really solid program. And in order to have a solid program, you have to have good players. The coach can get a lot of credit, and typically does in college, maybe more so in the NBA than the NBA. But nevertheless, no matter who the coach is, he has to have some horses out on that floor to help him win. And that's a player, if you're looking for maybe the Jazz fall back a little bit in the draft and you're looking for somebody who hasn't even come close to peaking, that might be somebody to keep an eye on, right? Because you don't want to go exclusively on NCAA tournament runs, because we've seen guys really elevate themselves. I think Arizona had a kid, I want to say his name was Williams, and he went second in the draft a few years back because he had a really nice tournament. I think it was over in Anaheim that they played, and the kid did nothing in the NBA and was a very high pick. And that's a recent example, and there's been plenty others, and I know you'll go to the O'Bannon one is one too. But I want somebody maybe who I've been watching, and that's what I have faith in the Jazz people, that they've been watching so many of these kids that it's not going to be based on a couple of games, maybe in the Sweet 16 or in the Final Four. It's going to be a full body of work. Plus, if they're not that highly sought after in the beginning, maybe they have a huge upside and can get really just substantially better. I mean, look at George. What was he, 16th? Undersized maybe, but in his third year has had a breakout season. And to look at him and have the projection going forward into his fourth and fifth and so forth seasons in the NBA, you'll like where that's going. So that's something to keep an eye on as I watch this Final Four, to see this kid from Illinois do his thing, because I think that he could be, to me, he's definitely a lottery pick now, but maybe a later lottery. You never know. I mean, I think most people, at least I was, for what it's worth, was surprised that Charlotte took Knipple playing for them with a fourth pick. And yet, wow, what a rookie season he's had. Now, fortunately for him, he went to he went to a crappy team, and so he's had this opportunity. And they had some wing guys, and then they had Ball, but the position that Knipple played, they didn't really have anybody, so he slides right into that position from day one. And certainly, for just a kid who would be a sophomore in college, we don't really say that anymore, but that's what he would be. He has just blossomed big time, and a large part and a large reason why that franchise has basically flipped itself from being a joke to now, if they can keep it together and guys keep their heads on straight, which is always a big if with younger folks, you never know, or the older folks for that matter. Look at me, my head's not on straight. And going forward, they have something that they can build. And he's playing a significant part. So that's what it's about. So I look at these teams and, I want to see Michigan win it just so I can see Whittingham there talking about, and I assume he'll go to the Final Four. He'll be in Indianapolis, and I want to see him just all of a sudden with his Michigan gear just rooting like a lifelong maize and blue fan like these guys do. We saw Sarkisian back when Texas was playing, and that had that real close game right at the end right there, and he was getting all fired up, high-fiving people left and right. That's what I want to see Kyle do. I want to see him dressed head to toe in Michigan gear because he's been a lifelong 3-month Michigan fan, and now's the time to show it.
Well, then watch Saturday night. Because they think they're playing the second game Saturday. With spring football, isn't that going to be way easier for a football coach to make than Monday? I think you better watch Saturday.
I would assume he would be there, right, for both.
I think he'll be there Saturday. But
yeah, it's spring football. Come on.
That'd be awesome. He's on silent. Hey, guys, I want you to go hard today. It's spring football. Come on. I'm getting on a plane. I'm out of here. I don't think so.
It's the Final Four, man. Michigan against Arizona. This is two really good programs. Obviously, they viewed that game to be even more special than the first one. They put it at second. So, yeah, I believe he'll be there, and I believe we'll see him on camera.
I think we'll see him on TV Saturday as well. Monday might surprise me, but Saturday I can see. I think your point about the late bloomers.
Both, man. Come on.
People scoff. People scoff and roll their eyes and late bloomers and all that. But even as young as these guys are becoming very good players, and even though some of these guys are able to step in what would be like their sophomore year of college, like you say, and make a difference in the NBA, they're still developing at wildly different rates. I mean, DeBonta has been on everybody's radar since he was a freshman in the NBA. We were talking yesterday about all the national teams he's been on. It's like 3 summers in a row, and he was their Mr. Basketball in Massachusetts as a freshman. So some of these guys are on top of it. And we just had in the last update with Cody, it's like, yeah, being 18, 19 years old and trying to play with grown men, yeah, you better be, paraphrasing, but basically you better be humble enough to expect a learning curve. You don't want to walk out there thinking, yeah, I'm all that at 18 against guys who've been pros for 5 or 10 years. Good luck with that. So, I mean, they're still young, but there's still a wide variance in how quickly they take off. And there are sleepers.
That's a fact, and I think a lot of it, like you take a kid like Knipple, since that's who we're talking about. Well, you look at him physically, and for whatever reason, he's matured physically. It doesn't look like he needs to really get a ton stronger. And then you look at somebody like a Cody Williams, and he's a string bean when he comes in the league, and his body type dictates that you must get extremely much stronger, right? And so that's the deal with Cam Boozer as they go into this draft. Boozer has the NBA body today. Now, he can get stronger and all that, and they will, because there'll be some natural evolution that just goes with maturity. And then when you get into that situation where they've got so much available for you and the off season and blah, blah, blah. But I think that goes into it, too, as they project what body size do you have right now? What are your physical dimensions? How much more do you need to improve in those areas? That's what fascinates me about Ace Bailey is what do they want out of him? What are they looking for him going forward physically? Because he's still a young pup, and there's going to be – I don't know if there's 5 guys in the league who have – more athletic ability combined with the height and the reach and all that stuff that goes into it than Ace Bailey, right? He's got to be near the top of the list in all those things that you look at for great basketball players. Now, what do they want him to do strength-wise? What are they looking for weight-wise? What have they figured out? What are their training people who specialize in all this stuff? Pablo Mastroianni talking about that, how they have so many different people on their staff that advise them that this player needs to do this, and they track this and that, all this stuff. It's very highly technical, as it should be, because it's at the highest level and there's tons of financial investment. What are they looking for Ace Bailey? That's something that I want to see. I would like to know what their plan is. Majerus used to say to Britton Johnson, he needs to lock himself in the weight room over the summer and throw away the key. You know, he would be emphatic in his just assertion of what these guys need to do. Now you look at Britton, using Britton as an example, and he got stronger and all, but his body size didn't really change that much from freshman to senior year. Well, you take a kid like Van Horn, wow, he added like 50 pounds from his freshman to his senior year, right? He was just massively different by the time he ended compared to the time that he began. Well, what are they looking at Ace Bailey? What are we going to see in 2 to 3 years physically? And how does it affect his game? That's one of the subplots that I want to see develop. And for me, I'm intrigued by it. And if I'm intrigued by something, you've got my interest.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. More on Arizona and the Final Four at the top of the hour with Ken Pomeroy from KenPom.com. Who's he got, Arizona or Michigan? That's coming up. Stay with us.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
So, PK, did we get to the bottom of it or not? Are you rooting for Arizona just to put some money in the pocket for Utah and BYU? A little sentimentality because Arizona hasn't won a title in 30 years, or for Michigan or Illinois because the Big Ten hasn't won in 25 years? Or UConn, they've won too much.
Well, there's a theory that you don't want the teams in your conference to be better than you, and is that going to evolve Arizona? Are they going to take it to even a higher level than what they were under Lute Olson? And if that's the case, then they could dominate, and that's going to be 1 or 2 L's for you, maybe in the conference tournament. So you do that, or you can say, well, man, it represents the conference. I think your point being that the conferences are so fragmented now that I don't know that there's that extreme conference loyalty that there used to be. I used to have an internal conflict, for most of my adult life. I'd say from 22 on, I was a diehard Pac-10 fan, obviously with the Sun Devils, and to the extent Arizona. I know you're not supposed to root against them, but I looked at it. I didn't really grow up in the rivalry. It came to me much later in life, and when I got to California and around all the two Pac-12 10 schools, and so then Oregon buys its way to the top, right? And it seems so seedy. Well, Oregon actually was just ahead of its time. They were forerunners to what we have now. So I used to have a conflict. Do I want to see Oregon win? Because then when the playoff came, the Pac-10 hasn't had blah, blah, blah since blah, blah. And I got sick of being dumped on. So I maybe begrudgingly a little bit, I rooted for SC and Oregon if they ever got there. Washington got there a couple years back. And so I wanted to see that just for the Pac-10 sake. Well, now that obviously blows up, and you got all my teams that I've just been following forever. They're scattered all over the place. My gosh, I got 2 of them in the ACC. What the crap is that? And I think, that's ridiculous. But now I'm rooting them in the Big 12. Well, they're not in the ACC, but they're geographically in the ACC. So what the heck is that? Why? I have nothing for or against or even on my radar for UCF. Absolutely nothing.
I know.
Right? It doesn't make any sense to me. And so I'm supposed to root for that? I mean, that's ridiculous. You can't go any farther away from where I live than UCF. So maybe there just isn't that loyalty anymore because the conferences are scattered all over the place. And now we got Texas Tech. And I don't know if you saw it, Cody Campbell, I think he's mad that the Texas Tech Houston Big 12 game is going to be moved to Friday, and he didn't like it. And then Yormark responded with, well, Cody Campbell doesn't run the conference. And Campbell basically said, well, yeah, I do. I mean, he's kind of joking in that way. And so what do we got here conference-wise? What is there? All sorts of tradition and feelings are just gone. So that I'm rooting for Michigan just so I could see Kyle Whittingham there dressed in Michigan gear. To me, that's going to be funny.
I would just tell Cody Campbell, if it's Friday and you're on an over-the-air network, you're going to get seen by so many people. If it's on Big Fox, which has aired a lot of Friday night games, and I think ABC should, and I think they will at some point, I don't know when, that's a big win, and he should embrace it. He's Mr. Embrace the Future. He needs to embrace that. Now, if they're going to end up on FS1 or even ESPN, which pulls better numbers, but that's not that big a platform. So I get if he wants to be a little cranky about that. So tell me where it's going to air. It's over the air. He's really got to cool his jets. That's a big win. Because you can have a chance to get 4 million people watching your game. And the Big 12 games are kind of off to the side over there.
Big deal. He'll pay somebody $4 million to come to Lubbock. That's where it's at.
He will. I actually just saw an NFL mock draft where David Bailey was the number 2 pick. And it's not what I usually see in those mock drafts. That was the highest I've seen him. But Texas Tech, get it done. We'll see where David Bailey goes.
Right, because they have a great English department, and so he went there to further his interest in English and literature. That's why he went there this past season. Come on, what a joke.
Ken Pomeroy joins us from KenPom.com right after the break. Who's he got, Arizona or Michigan? Who's going to win it all? We'll talk with him next. Stay with us.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did you have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.